doesn't start with the establishment of a United States of Africa. It starts with supporting each other as countries and standing together against imperialism, against dictatorship of Donald Trump. So we need that unity because Trump has realized that the continent is divided and therefore it can become a playing ground for USA imperialism. We must never divide our continent, because if we do that, we are inviting America to come and steal our mineral the same way they are stealing oil in Venezuela. We salute the people of South Africa, Africa, and the diaspora. Comrades, I want to send my sincere regards to those who came from the IEC to make a presentation here, the Demarcation Board, Stats SA. We really appreciate that they honored us and were able to bring us up to speed as to what are the issues that are confronting South Africa and the state of readiness, and what are the issues that will be confronted with when we deal with the issues of elections, and bring us up to speed in relation to demarcations of our wards as we confront these local government elections. I want to join the national chairperson in saluting all of you for being disciplined leaders of the EFF who are here and know the purpose of being here. That you didn't just come to an outing, but you came with the purpose of engaging robustly in what could shape the program and the political direction of the EFF going forward, particularly in preparation for the 2026 local government election. We salute the discipline displayed and the participation, because it's something else to be disciplined, but something else to also make a contribution, qualitative inputs that I've listened to, both in the commissions and during our closed session. I always enjoy listening to comrades from the lower structures of the EFF, because they bring to our attention some of the issues we think we know, but we generally do not know and appreciate how these issues reflect and affect you directly as members of the organization. So the problem is that we exist with limited time because we've got so many other responsibilities, and some of you have to travel a long distance to Chris Hani and all over South Africa to go and continue the work of building the organization. So we hope that those who got an opportunity to speak in the commissions and in the closed session were able to represent the views that we hold as leaders of the EFF, because seated here is not membership of the EFF. It's the cream de la cream of the EFF. It's the leadership of the EFF. It's what constitutes the core of the EFF. And therefore, when we interact with you, we must have an appreciation that you are leaders of the EFF, both in parliament, legislature, in the sub-regions, in the youth command, and west, some in the youth command are leaders of SRCs in the institutions of Harleni. So it's important that we appreciate the fact that we are not talking to ordinary members. We are talking to leaders who are going to carry the message to ordinary members and make them appreciate what has been agreed upon here. Comrades, you have agreed on voter registration campaign. And you said it must be something that is done on daily basis. It must be a norm, SG, that in every meeting of the EFF, as part of this mass voter registration campaign, those who are invited to come and participate in whatever meeting of the EFF must submit their IDs so that we check if these people are registered to vote. So the people who are going to get into buses of the EFF going anywhere, be it a rally, be it whatever, they don't pay a cent. From now onwards, they are going to start paying. They are going to pay with their ID number to get in any bus of the EFF. So that when we give a T-shirt, we know we're giving a T-shirt to a registered voter and the voter of the EFF. When we are gathered here, there must be a table outside there with facilities that are able to register people immediately if they are not registered. So when they get into buses, we don't punish them and say, no, because you are not registered, go away. We say to them, you are not registered to vote. Let's help you immediately to register you here and now as part of mass voter registration. We need to work with the IEC because it is equally the job of the IEC to make sure that they register as many South Africans as possible. So we said in Parliament, we want every child who becomes 18 to be automatically registered as a law in South Africa. Because it's your civil duty as a citizen to vote and to vote for a party of your choice. So we cannot just be citizens and we don't play our role as citizens. And that role is to be a registered voter. So it's important that in as much as we demand service from government, we too as citizens must play our role. And that role is to register and vote for a party of your choice. As part of trying to make that a law, we are demanding that the IEC must support that law. The IEC must join in demanding that all South Africans who are above 18 must be automatically registered with the IEC as voters here in South Africa. And we need a voters' roll. They must print a voters' roll and give to each and every VD. Not the ward. They are the ones who created the VDs. So they must print the voters' roll of each and every one so that we can go to those people who are already on the voters' roll to confirm that indeed these people are here, they are citizens in this particular ward. They are voters in this VD. From there, we ask them to vote for the EFF. When they say, yes, we'll vote for the EFF, we register them as EFF voters. So, mass voter registration does not only mean new voters. We mean voters of the EFF as well. So, everybody, including myself, I must still be visited by the EFF. That you are voting in this Mponagala Primary School. Are you a citizen here? Yes. We ask you to vote for the EFF and we engage. Once I agree, I must be uploaded in the EFF voter database because EFF must have its own database that says these are the people who said yes, will vote for the EFF. And the new voters as well, the Youth Command must play a central role. We must not divorce ourselves from that responsibility of registering young people and say, no, it's a role of the Youth Command. It's not our role. It is the equal task to the structures of the EFF to register young people working with the Youth Command. So there is no Youth Command that should be asking for resources, because you must be together in this campaign of making sure that we drive a voter registration campaign amongst young people in our communities. We must know all the burial societies, they meet monthly without fail. We must have an interaction with those people. And we must be able to say to them, this is who we are. And we are asking that you spread a word in your families to vote for the EFF. Because after contributing money and checking who paid, who's not up to date in the burial society and Stockfells and all of those things, they've got nothing to talk about. So you can become a topic because they are already gathered. You go and ask for a platform to speak with them. In the suburbs, you can't be saying, no, you want VD meetings. You must call voters to a primary school or to a park or anything of that sort. The approach may not be the same. So, in the suburbs, you have to identify an influential figure in this street and ask him to call a house meeting with the people on his street. They trust him, he's the neighbor. There are no high walls for them. They know how to interact with each other. And then once they gather in that house of a progressive force in that particular street, you go to that house to speak to those people and engage them. And there is no any other community that is not of target to the EFF. While you break new ground, you consolidate your base. You don't destroy your base to go and break new grounds. You consolidate the base and you go and build a new ground. So, we must make sure that even white communities have to be spoken to. Because they are being made to be scared of non-existing threat. Actually, what we are advocating for is the freedom of white people from high walls. It's the freedom of those in the suburbs from high walls. They can't even enjoy their gardens because they are hiding behind high walls. But if we usher economic freedom to everybody in South Africa, there will not be a need for high wall because everybody is empowered, everybody is participating in the economy of South Africa. So we need to tell white people they've got nothing to fear. If anything, they've got everything to celebrate the existence of the EFF because it will give them freedom to enjoy their neighborhood. They've got fear because they know that people are not empowered. People don't have land, people don't participate in the economy. Only the minority few participate in the economy of South Africa. So, they should be joining the struggle that the resources of South Africa should be shared amongst South Africans. They should be joining the struggle that the money must not go to corruption, but must go to infrastructure development so that the communities of Alexander, KwaMashu, Gugulethu, can be serviced better. And when they are serviced better, our security is assured. Because sometimes we put all the blame, yes, correctly so, on the people who are dominating the economy of South Africa. But in the immediate, there is a problem called corruption. As we are still fighting for the land, the people are fighting here the resources of the state, which could serve as an immediate intervention to help us solve the immediate issues that are confronting our people. So we have a duty to fight corruption and to declare corruption an enemy number one. So instead of DA declaring the EFF as enemy number one, they should be declaring corruption, poverty as enemy number one. Because that is what it is. That the enemy number one of this country is corruption that leads to poverty. So we could be speaking all these strategic objectives that we have outlined for ourselves, but there is an immediate challenge of poverty and unemployment as a result of corruption. So the DP is right. We need to fight this thing of permanent elections in South Africa. Elections are not every 2 years. In South Africa, elections are every Wednesday. Every Wednesday there is a by-election here in South Africa. And the by-election is expensive the same way, if not worse, than normal elections. Why should we have a by-election? Because this ANC councillor who died or who was killed by fellow ANC people or whatever the reason might be, this word was won by the ANC. And people said ANC must govern us here for 5 years. So when that one dies, let the ANC bring another corrupt one. Because they chose that corruption. They chose that corruption. Why should we have a by-election? It's not true that people vote for the individuals. Those individuals leave the ANC and become independent and lose elections. After being voted a year ago, when they resigned from the ANC, when they resigned from the DA, when they resigned from the EFF and stand as independent, they lose. Because no one voted for them. They voted for the party. And you said in that word, the party must govern us for 5 years. You chose it. You never said the party must govern us for 2 years so that this one dies and then we can elect another one. You never voted to elect another one in the next 2 years. You voted to elect another one in the next 5 years. That's what you voted for. So you must be stuck with what you voted for so that in future you vote correctly. Why should we have by-elections? For what? Let's call for one election day every 5 years. We must go vote for national, province, and local government. And local government. So that for the next 4 years, we concentrate on service delivery, not on permanent campaigning as a political party. Once elected, you've got 4 years to focus on service delivery and 1 year to communicate what you have achieved in the past 4 years and ask people to vote for you again. That's what campaign is about. But this thing of putting black people in permanent election, it's a distraction. They are distracting us from concentrating on real issues. And we should be squabbling permanently amongst ourselves as to who's going to become a candidate or a councillor in that particular ward. So it is something that a national chair, we have to put it very clear in Parliament that this thing must be outlawed. It's useless. It's wasting resources. I saw some girl wanted to trend and lied about the EFF deputy president. and said the deputy president said EFF spent 1 billion in 2024. And Helen Zille quickly jumped into it and said, yo, they've never declared any fund or what. All of a sudden, Helen Zille can hear English from a half Indian fellow here who twang like her. Maybe if it was me with my African accent, she will have an excuse that she didn't hear me properly. They had everything. But the deputy president said, for example, let's say the EFF spent 1 billion in 2024 and is going to have to spend another 1 billion in 2 years in 2026. It means the elections have become expensive and it will be a terrain of those who can afford. And therefore it makes us to pay for democracy. That if you don't have money, you will not enjoy the benefits of this democracy, which amongst other things means that you can form a political party and contest elections. But that right has become very expensive. I had a discussion with the deputy president about this example yesterday. And I said the message is very wrong. The message is right, the example is wrong. Why do you give an example of 1 billion? You must give examples with things you have seen with your eyes. So, the deputy president gave a wrong example. Umzekelo wasmosha komzekelo wakho. Even if we wanted to spend 1 billion, we can't have 1 billion. We don't have 1 billion. No one can ever give us 1 billion. Not in South Africa. Not those who own capital. They will never give such money to the EFF. They all know. Helen knows. With her Botox, she knows. And Trolip knows. A child of a farmer who exploited black people. Knows. So I said, in the village and the township, when you are seated with old people and you want to give example about some old person, or no, for instance, let's say when you don't have 50 rand. As an example, where, man, can't give that example with me of not having 50 rand. So there are certain examples are not acceptable. Say, for instance, I don't have 1,000. That's fine. You can't say 50 rand. No. It's a wrong example. It's not accepted. But the point, and that's why they want to distract us from the message, that they've made elections expensive for the benefit of those who've got money. That's why they form small parties everywhere and give them money to divide a black vote, and then emerges their stooges in parliament and everywhere else. So we agree fully with what the deputy president said. We don't agree with example. Therefore, let's correct it. And say, for instance, the EFF spent 10 million in 2024 elections. And it will have to spend another 10 million. It's very expensive. So, it's very close to reality. But example must be close to reality. Comrades, we agreed on political education. We agree all the time here. But I don't see the work of political education desk. We have elected now the sub-regional structures. Where is the induction? Does a political education desk want a meeting like this to know that when a structure is elected, must be inducted with immediate effect, so that we build that confidence a fighter was talking about on the leadership of the sub-region. They know what to do, but they are waiting for someone to come and confirm that their understanding is correct or not. Palana, I ask questions that I have answers to, so that I check if we have the same understanding. I shouldn't assume that we have the same understanding. So the structures are waiting for you to come and reaffirm their understanding and interpretation of the EFF founding manifesto and policy-related issues and the ideological orientation of the EFF. They're waiting to be reaffirmed. And we hope that that thing will be done immediately, and will not wait for another plenum to say we need to go and induct lower structures, and everything of the EFF must be accompanied by political education. Not only of members of the EFF, political education of society as a whole, because the policies of the EFF are so radical in character. So much that people can vote for us and remove us from power the following day when we start implementing these policies of the EFF, because they might have voted for popularity of the party without appreciating the implications of the policies of the party. So as we do door to door, we don't just do door to door, we educate society. Because what they did was to take the brains out of the head of our people. We, through door to door, we must return the brains into the heads of our people. And once we do that, we have liberated our country from manipulation. Because our people are being manipulated. And we should make sure that we remove that from our people. So, as doctors of society, you have a duty to go and liberate our people. Comrades, someone gave an input here about flat rate. Flat rate is not a correct policy, because it's stealing from the poor. When you say residents of Johannesburg must pay 500 rand, all of them, you mean I must pay 500 rand staying in Sandton, and then a person who stays in Alexander must pay 500 rand? No, you are stealing from that one, because now I can afford to pay more. So we need to fight for electricity to be affordable, for services to be affordable, and to fight this nonsense of these municipalities finding a big house in the township and say on the basis of this big house, you have to pay. My grandmother never built a big house, but she couldn't afford. So I built a house for her. And they say, no, she has built a big house. She must pay rates and taxes that are high on the basis of a house she never built. So if you're going to say those old gogos must pay high rates because they have got big houses, you are asking them to refuse that we build them houses, so that you condemn them into permanent poverty. We must not judge the people by just going to look outside the house and say, no, this one doesn't qualify for indigent on the basis of they've got a big house. No. A child who built that house might not even be alive. So we must not assume. We have to take into consideration the situation of each and every family as leaders of government, and be able to give our people the best services. Now, indigent policy is not a correct policy. We must do away with it. And we must say, everybody who qualifies for SASSA must not pay for water and electricity. So what do? We don't even have to wait for individuals to come and apply at any municipality. We go to SASSA and say, give us the stats, the names of the people on your database in Polokwane, so that we can remove them on our database of people who pay for water and electricity. Because SASSA means you are poor. We give the poor of the poor SASSA. That's why former teachers don't qualify. And civil servants and all those type of things. Because that thing is given to the poorest of the poor. So why should we debate about that? Why should we have a debate about who qualifies, who doesn't qualify? Once we display our poverty at SASSA, that must be the only station where we display poverty. From there, we don't have to display poverty anyway. Anyone who wants to check whether we are poor or not, go to SASSA. How can you say these children here in this community, their school is going to be declared a no-fee school? Why? Because you have come to a determination that this community here is poor. Therefore, all those children are not going to pay. It's a no-fee school. So why can't we apply the same rule? When it comes to no-fee schools these days, why can't we apply the same rule? How do we become poor when it comes to time of paying school fees? You know we are poor, we must not pay school fees in this community. But when the time to pay water and electricity comes, you say, no, you can afford. You must pay. School fees is once per year. You say we can't afford once per year, but we can afford every month to pay for water and electricity. Those contradictions must be done away with. And the rich, they must pay, and we must charge them more so that they subsidize those who cannot pay in the townships. Because we need the money as a municipality. Someone is playing and no one is moving. This mic keeps on cutting. No one is moving and making an effort. So we need to make sure. We need to make sure that someone pays. And who's that someone? The rich must pay for the poor. Because the rich have stolen from the poor. And it's time to pay back. Who are the rich? The rich are the whites. The rich are politicians, are the businessmen who have left us in poverty in the townships. They must pay for those who are in the villages and the townships who cannot afford. We need a country where the rich must be fighting for the poor to come out of poverty so that their payment can go low. And those who were in poverty yesterday are now at a position where they too join the paying crew. So we are a country where we are scared of the rich. And because the rich means the whites. And we are scared of the whites. Through making the rich to pay high water and electricity bills, they will be paying for the benefits they got during apartheid when we were excluded from benefiting from our own government. So, it's an important discussion that we need to take up as the leadership of the EFF. How do we ensure that the poor are not made to suffer more by imposing unreasonable bills to those poor people? So, fighters That's a job of a councillor. A public representative should be asking in council, how can we effectively exclude the poor from paying? It must be an open discussion so that the DA can show its true colors. Let's pass a bylaw that says, you know what, here, this is what we're going to do in this particular municipality to remove the poor from paying for water and electricity. There need to be a clear decision. And therefore, there must be motions sponsored in the council, as we go back now, by our councillors, that we must remove the poor from a database of those who pay for water and electricity. When they ask the question, how do we know they are poor? We say, let's go and collect the data from SASSA. We will know who are the poor in this particular municipality. Let there be bread and butter issues that are being debated amongst councillors. The issues that affect our people directly. And for a change, let local councillors not discuss their corruption on how they are going to steal money, but discuss the real issues that are going to change the life of our people. You have done it before. What stops you from doing it? The insourcing was to remove the poor workers from exploitation by some businessman who doesn't even have an office, but he calls himself a businessman who steals from these security guards and cleaners. You continue to do it. I think the latest was in Swahili, where they were insourcing, and Ikuruleni, I saw something about insourcing. So you are empowering the poor when you insource. So lead another campaign of removing the poor from paying for water and electricity, and let there be a debated motion in each and every council, and let all the political parties show their colors as to whether they stand with the poor or they stand with the rich. So fighters, we have a duty to make sure that we deliver that particular victory to the poor of the poorest. Comrades, we are going to appoint 10 people per VD. And we are going to take these 10 people and submit their names to Terry Zelan. I almost said Terry Mutau. Zelan. Submit to his company to do an independent verification of this EFF party agents, even before we start talking about paying party agents or not. But we need a professional company. Terry Mtaung was a deputy chairperson, or Salan was a deputy chair of the IEC for a very long time. So they worked on this thing of hiring IEC staff all over South Africa, not 10, more than that per VD. They did that. So they've got a well experience. So this 10 must be told the same way you are told you are a branch chairperson. This 10 must be told your position in the EFF is party agent. You've got a position in the EFF. It's called party agent. When they ask you, what is your position in the EFF? You must say, I'm a party agent. If you belong to this 10. So if the chairperson of the branch is a party agent, which he should be, you must say, I'm a chairperson of the branch. And my added responsibility is that I'm a party agent. Then we must, independently, without any of us getting involved and releasing reports that are favorable to our factionalists, we get a report that says these things are not there. so that we decisively deal with you. So by March, we've been talking VDs. Before you got elected at sub-regions, we said we want VDs. You gave us VDs. Go back. By March, you must say to us, these ones were sure. We have made sure. No, we're fine. We are sure. Are you sure? Oh, sure. Okay, fine. We take that thing, we send it to Terry. Go and check that thing. Amongst other things will include interviewing those individuals to get an understanding of what kind of VD members do we have who are party agents. So we need party agents who are not going to be told by the presiding officer to stand at the door during counting. And you, comrades, allow that, including some CCT members. When we were doing by-elections in Ward 13, we took CCT members to be party agents. The DP found some of them at the door during counting. So, how do you observe counting from the door? You don't even have to understand the law. You are there to observe. Because you must see with your eyes, EFF, ANC, EFF. See with your eyes. That's what observer means. So when now you have been removed from being an observer to be a guard at the door, and you allow that. So please, we need to professionalize this organization. So let's go and talk to these people professionally, so that we say out of 10, we think this 2 doesn't qualify. Give us another 2 which has got a better understanding. Now, you need to invest in IT so that once you have appointed the party agents to safeguard the votes of the EFF, because people have been stealing our votes. You know, in 2024, I stood on a queue with my wife for 4 hours to vote. 4 hours. In the same voting station where I stood for 4 hours. The EFF won that VD. But at the capturing center, they swapped EFF numbers in my ward, in my voting station, where I stood for 4 hours. Where I'm a candidate, I'm on the ballot paper, yeah. They steal from me in the same. Fortunately, the TP was there. And he went to the capturing center. He just said, can you please, because he had a result slip. Can you please show me the results of this VD? Just out of interest. They openly opened the thing and said, here are the results of this VD. He said, no, these are not the results. You change them. Here are the results. We're telling you, we're not accusing the IEC. And I don't know why the DP did not tell that guy that the IEC amongst its staff members, they are thugs and their role is to steal votes. And you are a witness. You saw it DP with your own eyes. You know the IEC person you spoke to at that capturing center who showed you wrong result. They had to recapture the whole thing. So that's why we need vigilant men and women like DP who are never tired, who understand they must pay attention to the minute detail if you are dealing with thugs. So we need to safeguard the votes of the EFF with properly qualified, trained professionally by people who know elections, by people who have worked elections. Now take this IT, after we have approved these people, They must give us who's going to be a party agent during the day, who's going to be a party agent at night. And that person must be at the voting station, and we should have the capacity to see that the person is at the voting station. How do I know it's possible? So we're at the JSC with the Honorable Soviet Lekhanyan. The next morning, he's not at the JSC. I'm like, where are you? He says, I had to fly back to Cape Town because I left my phone in Cape Town when I came to Joburg. So, but why do you fly back? You can leave, you can stay here without a phone and you go back Sunday or when we finish. He says, no, I have to submit an assignment. I'm registered with Stellenbosch University. Now, I've got my laptop, but the system requires that the laptop must be next to the cell phone for me to send this assignment. So if your phone is in Cape Town and your laptop is in Joburg, it's like someone is submitting this thing for you in Joburg. So they now know that we can't live without our phones. So if you want to leave your phone with IEC members, a criminal, leave it with them. But we must know, where is this phone? And it can't be off. So if that phone is off and can't be located, there must be a team that is able to respond from a sub-regional point of view that there's no party agent at this and this station, and immediately unleash the party agent. So if Stellenbosch University can do it, we can do it. So the iPhone, and the latest I saw with this X5. So we once got into an accident, and then the phone rang. No, not the phone. The voice came through the car we're driving. Are you guys fine? Are you guys fine? We can see you were in an accident. Once there was that impact, immediately there was a call. Do you need a tow truck? What do you need? What? So these people could, through the IT systems, see that there's one of their cars is involved in an accident. So I get out of that car. I'm like, these people, they are driving with us everywhere. Most. If a voice can just come through without anyone calling. But that's unfortunately the era we live in. That's why Elon Musk wants that thing of Starlink to come here. He wants to do the same thing. To be in our cars and everywhere, our houses everywhere. As I get out of this car, my phone rang. SOS. My phone rang. Are you fine? Were you in an accident? So if those people can do it, what stops an organization, young organization like the EFF, to have the best sophistication to locate its own soldiers on the ground on a real time? By the way, we are the only political party which still has podcast that publish every Friday without fail. Why? Because we appreciate we live in that era of podcasts. And we're the only ones. The ANC tried to do it. It looked like they were in a kitchen or something. Failed. Because they don't have the young intelligentsia which must develop these things and speak to us. Both Vuyane, they went to vets. Surely they should know those clever kids and bring them into the EFF and let's discuss. What can we do? We have this problem of party agents who disappear and we want to locate them. Then they develop a system for us. Once you walk out of that classroom, it must give you a radius. It must ring. The same way mine rang. Are you an accident? It must say you. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? If I can be asked, were you an accident? Are you fine? We must ask you, are you fine? Party agent, where are you going? They asked me, I never called, they called me. They had the means to see that I was in an accident. So the EFF must know that its party agent is in an accident because it's leaving a station. So emergency call must come through. Where are you going? So fighters, we cannot operate the same old way. We are in a new era with its own challenges. And we are going to have to be a better party. So let's go and make sure that we get proper in order SG, our people, including the head office. It has got a responsibility to have systems in place that are able to speak to issues today. We can't say we were sophisticated, therefore we must stop printing cards. No, the cards are going to be printed. There's no way. All of us seated here, at least I can confidently say, maybe student command, but even them, we all have bank apps on our phones, but we still have a card. Hey, we still have a card from the bank. Even with that sophistication we have on our phone, we still have the card. The bank still requires us to have the card, even with sophistication. So, EFF, whatever membership you have introduced, the electronic, what, thank you. You are showing us that you are living in real time, but we still want the card in our pocket. Because the card makes us proud. So if we are unable to do this thing in an effective manner, let's find young people who are going to come and say, we think we can do this thing much better if we do it this way. The question should be in our mind every day when we wake up. Don't say there is a system of membership. The question should be, how do I improve the work of the EFF every day? Even if you've got the systems that work, how do we improve this thing? Someone says we must take the printing machines to provinces. Hey, are they not going to print the wrong cards here? So let someone come and engage with us internally about how do we improve the systems. So we leave that thing with you as SGO to deal with it. We have listened to you on fundraising, comrades. We'll take those things into consideration. The EFF, generally, its membership is constituted by people who are unemployed. But we shouldn't be scared to venture into the ideas Eugene was talking about. Because I said to you in the opening address, we are now attracting people in the suburbs, meaning there is a new generation that is coming into the EFF ranks that can afford. We've got a sub-region in Hyde Park. That the sub-region what? B. It takes Hyde Park, all those big suburbs there. We have a sub-region there. Those people can afford. All of those people of the EFF, I went to address their sub-regional conference. You could see even the way they were singing. This one's, it's not Koketu, yeah. It's not Soweto. It's a different kind. So you must be very careful. Don't go and expect people to sweat there. No. So, we must not be scared to come up with ideas. because they will say, but your members cannot afford. Those who can afford and are willing to support the organization so that it retains its independence, they should finance the revolution through these creative methods that Eugene spoke to. We must never ever, and that mistake must never ever be committed again. Where we meet like this, we can speak about everything, but we don't speak about sports, arts, and culture. There's no commission that deals with that. That's a horrible mistake. Everything we do in society is that thing. Everything. America has managed to grab that thing and use it to manipulate the world to think that America is the best. Up you can think everybody there in America is a model, is beautiful. But you're junk. The back guy. But that's not what they sell to you. They sell to you the best picture of America. They use arts and culture to do that. In each and every movie, when there are two opposing sides fighting in a movie, you must just ask which one is from America. Then you know it's the one who's going to win at the end of this movie. It's staring that one. Why? They are selling to you that America is not a loser. It doesn't lose. It's very powerful. At the end of that movie, the American flag will rise. They didn't come and put a bullet on your head. They just sold that thing through arts and culture and damaged your brain. It's a very powerful tool we can use to liberate our people. It's a very powerful tool we can use to grow our economy. I mean, una little movie in Nigeria, yeah, and there are people who sit there and just watch those things and they don't make sense, but people are watching. So we need to put sports, arts, and culture at the center of everything we're doing. That thing we're doing of singing is art. That's why Eugene is right. We must perfect it. We must professionalize it. And we must use the song to communicate our pain. We must use the song to teach politics. We must use the song to mobilize our people. So, very important that that point he made, it doesn't escape us. Comrades, anyone who wants to improve the communication of the EFF must feel free to put forward any proposal any day. Why? The struggle has moved from the streets into the wires, into communication. That's where the battlefield is. So we need to go there and we need to communicate a lot. And we need to use the current technology and facilities that are available to communicate a message of the EFF. We must communicate every day. Every day. In a restaurant, they communicate special. Every day. When they come in, they cancel that one, and today's special is this. They are communicating their special every day. Let there be communication every day. A comrade from the Northern Cape came here, spoke, gave an input. You listen to that and you like, if it's not sensitive to internal dynamics of the organization, you take that comrade, cut that part of him, and put it in the wires and say the comrades were giving inputs during closed session, amongst other things, this comrade said this. You put that person there. Then people can relate. Or, oh, there are this kind of people who are in the EFF who are like us. So you need to communicate. And sub-regional chairpersons, like provincial chairpersons, are head of communications in those particular provinces. So no sub-region requires a provincial permission to communicate. No sub-region requires. You are an elected structure. Now, the reason why we said we must have the reason why we said we must have sub-regional structures is because we wanted to be closer to the people. How do you become closer to the people? If you can't communicate with the people you must be closer to. So, this bureaucracy is unnecessary. Like you, provincial chairpersons, when you communicate, you don't require permission from us. But if you communicate wrong, we are going to tell you, withdraw that thing. Allow the sub-regions to also make the same mistakes and communicate wrong things, and you must be able to say to them, you are wrong, withdraw that statement. How can the youth command be entrusted with its own independent communication, but a structure of a mother body cannot communicate? A chairperson of a branch is a spokesperson of that branch. He must communicate. He must communicate the issues of his branch. There are floods in Guyana. There are floods in Bembe region. There are floods in Mpumalanga. And when I say Guyana is so broad, those floods happened in a particular what? There is a chairperson there who must communicate. Or no, in our branch, this is what we're experiencing. You want to come from Polokwane to go and communicate about the floods of Bembe, West, about Dibich Venda. So how are you going to communicate about Dibich Venda? The people who know Vendam are there. They must communicate. The people who know Tsonga, they are there. They must communicate. Allow them to communicate. I'm not saying don't go, don't communicate. Go and reinforce the message that the sub-region, the branch, whatever, has communicated. So let there be communication with our people by our structures directly on local dynamics that they are confronted with. A sub-region must be able to release a statement about the issues. So meaning, in each and every sub-region, we are going to have at least one statement per month. Why? Because, now listen to me, you are going to live here without hearing what I'm saying because you are permanently clapping hands. Every sub-region means municipality, except in the metros. The metros, the province will handle that. Here, in the municipality, in the sub-regions, council meet every month, once a month. The sub-region must release a statement after every council meeting as to what were the issues that were debated in the council. What did the EFF say? What did those ones say? That this is what was achieved. This is what we oppose. Every council must be followed by a statement. Because you are there. Every council, every legislature, up following the sitting, Colin communicates that he has renamed Didi Mabuza and things. without even telling us that he's going to sponsor Didi Mabuza. Communicate. He issues a statement, because legislature has made certain decisions. Therefore, they communicate. The sub-regional leadership doesn't have to be in the council or to be members of the council for them to communicate. Members of the council must come back to the sub-region, give it a report, and the sub-region must be able to formulate a statement based on the report that was presented. Why? There must be a communication between the structure of the EFF and those who are deployed by the EFF in the council. Because the council is not bigger than the EFF. The EFF is bigger than the council, and you report to the EFF. So there shouldn't be a confusion about that. We must not be confused, comrades. Never. So let there be many voices, one message. Many voices. Let everybody speak, but one message. If you are not sure, you talk to your immediate supervisors to check if this is a correct position, and then you communicate. So, comrades, the comrade gave an input about Africa. We will never agree, because as Leninist organization that believes in the party, we will never agree that political parties must be destroyed and banned and all of that. No. There is always ideological contestation, and ideological contestation cannot be equated to divisions. It's not tribalism. It's not racism. It's not xenophobia. It's a contestation of ideas, and that cannot be reduced to a division. So we believe in the party, and that's why we formed the party. And we will never agree that parties must be collapsed. So, but I was very impressed with that input and how observant you have become that the EFF hasn't communicated on Ghana elections. The EFF hasn't communicated on this or that utterances of leaders in Africa. Very correct observation, which must be kept and be encouraged, that the EFF must be taken on if there are inconsistencies when it comes to communication, especially on African matters. So when we support an African leader, it doesn't mean we'll agree on everything. There are areas where we're going to disagree that nobody will think, generally yes, but on this issue, there is a problem. Because we're independent thinkers. So, you spoke about the election in Uganda. And you say we can't support Bobi Wine because his flag is got some similarities with France, and therefore can't support France. And on the other hand, there is this tyrant called Museveni. So, you have to make a political decision as to what becomes a posture of the organization. When you are presented with two devils, and you have to choose a better devil. So, you just said to us, we can't choose Bobi Wine, but you never said anything about Museveni. Whether we must choose Museveni over Bobi Wine. Because Museveni must go. The immediate thing is that Museveni must go. He has been there for too long. And he suppresses people. And he rigs elections. And he beats up people who don't support him. He must go. On that one we must agree. Whether Bobby Wine is a good alternative or not is a matter of debate. But as a principle, Museveni must go. He overstayed and is suppressing people who want to express themselves. There might be better people in Uganda who are unable to express themselves because of fear that is instilled in them by Museveni. So, those are the healthy debates that we must have as the EFF. Fighters, we need to unite this continent and make it one and speak in one voice if we are to become a player in the international politics. Look, today, South Africa is under attack. The whole of Africa is quiet. But if it was one of those African countries, we were going to be expected to say something as South Africa. But now that we are under attack, the continent is quiet. The unity of Africa doesn't start with the establishment of a United States of Africa. It starts with supporting each other as countries and standing together against imperialism, against dictatorship of Donald Trump. So we need that unity because Trump has realized that the continent is divided and therefore it can become a playing ground for USA imperialism. We must never divide our continent, because if we do that, we are inviting America to come and steal our mineral the same way they are stealing oil in Venezuela, where a madman can declare himself a president of another country. That thing of South Africa sending that diplomat of Israel pegging, it's a proper one. It's a proper stance. Those are the kind of decisions we support. But we don't want that just that individual. We want the whole embassy of Israel closed down and leave South Africa. There is a parliament decision about that. So you act all brave about an individual. The problem is not the individual. The problem is the whole Israel embassy sharing a territory with us when they are murdering children and women in Palestine. This is not a fight against Jewish people. This is a fight against apartheid Israel and its representatives everywhere. So you must not find Jewish people going to, what do they call it, mosque? What? Synagogue. Going to pray. Jewish people going to pray. You are there. We will flex at the church. Hey, Palestine. Those people have got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Leave them to go and pray and go to the real enemy. You know where the representative of the enemy is. That is the embassy of Israel. So you cannot just find every Jewish person and then you want to attack, because you are going to attack Ronnie Castles, who is very progressive, but is Jewish, and support the Palestinian question. But if you think the fight against the apartheid Israel is against Jewish people, you are going to fight even progressive Jewish people. There are a lot of them in America, by the way, who don't agree with what is happening in Palestine. America started again through Israel to bomb Palestine. I think yesterday they killed 30 people or so in their attacks. There is no Israel that is attacking Palestine. Palestine is being attacked by America. Because as long as America supports Israel's attack on Palestine, it must be blamed for those children who are dying in Palestine, and the women, and the churches and museums that were destroyed by the bombs of America. Always choose the side of the weak, not the powerful. When there are two people fighting, look at who is the weakest and side with the weak. So fighters, let's go and conscientize our society that this country is being sold to the highest bidder. America is going to take South Africa unless we elect a proper structure, proper organization into government that will be able to take America toe for toe. We are being attacked because of our stance on Israel. And we must never retreat. We must never retreat. We never retreated even when we were being killed during apartheid. Never retreated. So we are not going to be intimidated to succumb to the pressure of America. If they want to kill us, they must come and kill us. No problem. There's no anything they can get out of killing us. The truth will remain the truth. They are murderers. Actually, by killing us, they will be proving what we've been saying, that they are murderers and they go around killing people. Their foreign policy is violence. That's what they advocate for. Everywhere they go is violence. They've never gone anywhere to spread peace except violence. So fighters, let's conscientize South Africa that we are going to be under attack for standing with people who stood with us during our difficult times. So we need to mobilize society and reject what America is doing. I don't care about their visa. Whether they don't approve my visa or not, they would have saved me from junk food. So I'm okay. I'll stay here in Africa. Trump can keep his America. I will keep my Africa. So we are not going to be intimidated that because Trump can withdraw a visa, therefore we must change our message. No, we are not going to do that. Let them do what they want to do. We stand with the people of Venezuela. We stand with President Maduro. Because we will never stand with a bully America. We will never stand with people who want to go and steal the oil of the people of Venezuela. Because that oil is also helping the people of Cuba. And as July 26 movement will never agree with anything that is going to perpetuate the poverty of Cuba. So, comrades, when I go to court, I know why you have fears. I say this all the time. When I go to court in East London, they find me guilty, which they did, then sentence me to a jail term. I even said before the jail term that I'm going to appeal this matter. So your immediate fears must be cleared that once I appeal, it suspends the jail sentence that they've imposed on me. Now, if they impose a sentence that is more than 12 months without an option of a fine, I will not qualify to be a member of parliament. But once I appeal that, it suspend that thing. I continue with my duties as a member of parliament, as a member of ethics, as a member of the JSC, because that's where they want to remove me. But even if they succeed in removing me from parliament, I've got a home here called Winnie Madikizela Mandela House. That's where the People's Parliament is. And that's where I will go and serve in the People's Parliament in Winnie Madikizela Mandela House. Because I was never born to be a member of parliament. I joined the struggle to liberate the people of South Africa, not to be a member of parliament. They can take their parliament. I'll remain in the struggle. The same way they took the ANC membership, I remained in the struggle, because when they took the ANC membership, their intention was to remove me from the struggle. So I'm part of the revolution. No one will remove me from the revolution. And parliament is not a revolution. A revolutionary house is Winnie Madikizela Mandela House. So, comrades, we have to accept that this year we have to do well or die. That's what you need to take. There comes a point in your life where you say, I have to survive or I'm going to die. We have reached that point now where we must decide that Africa must be united or we must die. Because your survival is the unity of Africa. If you die, that unity will never happen. You must decide if this unemployment must continue or die. Because if you accept that you are going to die, then you accept that the youth of South Africa must be permanently excluded from empowerment. So when you accept that we must die, that's what you must know. That's what you're accepting to. You're accepting that the people of South Africa must remain landless. You're accepting that the economy of South Africa must be in the hands of the minority permanently because you have decided to die. You need to understand the implications of dying. That when you die, more children are going to die in the Eastern Cape of poverty. Survival means the defeat of poverty. When the EFF survives, it means the war against poverty is continuing and empowerment of our people will happen in our lifetime. So, comrades, when you go home today, you must have a conversation with yourself. Whether you are dying or you are going to survive. We are not the dying type. We are not the dying type. But if you surrender, you will die. So, you must choose death through the resolutions you took here. You must say, death is not an option. We are going to survive. So, we are living here today after everything with two things: victory or death. So, I want to say to you fighters, as you go back to your branches and provinces, you must go carrying with you this message, that this year has been declared the year of victory or death. Thank you.
This is the journey to one Africa.